The Memphis Grizzlies made it clear back in February that they had no interest in trading their franchise pillar Ja Morant and were still committed to making him the center of what they do. But then over the last few months, they experienced a major slide down the standings, they fired their head coach, and they got swiftly eliminated in 4 games by the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round of the playoffs. Now, according to ESPN reporter Tim McMahon, there's a lot of chatter going on behind the scenes in the NBA world about the Grizzlies starting to open up to the idea of trading away Ja Morant, and if that becomes a real thing, then Bleacher Report just posted an article theorizing 5 trades that could become potential options for them to make. As always, we will be going through each of these proposals, analyzing why or why not the teams involved would want to do it, who benefits the most from it, and whether or not the deals should be made. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I'd also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. The first proposal from the article is between the Houston Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies, where the Rockets receive Ja Morant and Jay Huff in exchange for Fred VanVleet, Cam Whitmore, and 2 first-round picks. The Houston Rockets are so close to being ready for the big stage with a hounding defense that comes at you with so many different switchable and versatile weapons to cause havoc on that end with. They put up as good of a fight as they possibly could have in the first round, taking the new-look Golden State Warriors to 7 games, making life incredibly difficult for Steph Curry the whole time. And now it's pretty obvious what they are missing: a true number 1 option and go-to scoring threat. They have a lot of number 2s and number 3s in their lineup, but their leading scorer this year was Jalen Green, averaging just 21 points per game, and Green is just not good enough to be that guy for a contender. I love Morant's fit on this team as an elite athlete that can speed up the Rockets' pace of play. He can take games over when he gets hot, he puts constant pressure on defenses off the dribble, and his presence alone would open things up a lot more for some of the Rockets' secondary scoring options like Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith Jr., Amen Thompson, and Dylan Brooks. The Rockets also easily have the assets and depth at their disposal to generate a worthwhile star player trade offer, as we see here, with Cam Whitmore being a very intriguing young talent that can't even break into the Rockets' rotation right now, plus veteran Fred VanVleet being an NBA champion who would be a very solid short-term replacement for Morant in Memphis. The 2 first-round picks also definitely bolster this offer, but based on the way that star trades have gone over the last few years, I do think the Rockets would have to include at least 1 more pick or worthwhile player into this offer to get it across the finish line. Luckily for them, they have a lot of expendable assets that they could include if they really wanted to bring Ja Morant in, so the Rockets are definitely a real potential landing spot for him, and this proposal is on the right track. It just needs a little bit more included. The next proposal from the article is between the Grizzlies and the Miami Heat, where the Heat received Ja Morant in exchange for Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, and a first-round pick. The Miami Heat have never really been a franchise that likes to rebuild or tank under the leadership of Pat Riley, so in the post-Jimmy Butler era, you would think they would be looking for a quick solution this summer to try to bounce back. The team they have right now is capped out at a level of mediocrity at best, finishing the year with a losing record and barely making it out of the play-in tournament before comfortably being handled in the first round. Their biggest need is also similar to the Houston Rockets in that they have guys that would excel in secondary roles, but nobody built to be the number 1, leading the way, and even though Tyler Hero was named an All-Star this year, he's definitely more suited to be a team's 2nd or 3rd best player than he is to be suited as the best player on a team with winning aspirations. Hero is someone that probably should have been traded a while ago too, because the writing was on the wall for a while that the Heat would fall off hard and frustrate Jimmy Butler if improvements were not made, and now they've waited too long and things have blown up in their face. If they're able to flip Hero for Morant here, that would be a fantastic start to climbing back into the mix in the Eastern Conference, but I also just don't think that this offer is enough to beat out other potential suitors that would give the Grizzlies an offer. Hero's presence on the Grizzlies would clash with Desmond Bane at the shooting guard position, and while Hero is a solid passer for a shooting guard, he's not enough of a natural playmaker to play point guard full time. Nikola Jovic is a fine two-way role player, but not enough to move the needle much, and one single first round pick that will likely be in the middle of the round does not make up for that either. Morant's fit on the Heat, who have been looking for a point guard for years, is obvious, but I struggle to see the Grizzlies being won over by this one. The next proposal from the article is between the Grizzlies and the New Orleans Pelicans, where the Pelicans receive Ja Morant in exchange for DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, and a first-round pick. This year could not have possibly been a bigger disaster for the Pelicans, as they finished in second to last place in the conference during a completely injury-riddled year. The assumption is that they're going to blow things up and reset, but what if they didn't have to? Upgrading big time at point guard and reuniting Ja Morant and Zion Williamson, who were AAU teammates back in the day, would not only be incredible entertainment, but on paper, they are a match made in heaven talent and playstyle wise. Morant likes to play fast and dominate in transition. Williamson is at his best when he can get a full head of steam and attack the basket as an elite finisher around the rim. Zion's questionable and unreliable health has made it so he can't really be trusted as a team's franchise cornerstone and number one option, but if that pressure was no longer on him, I think he would absolutely thrive. I'm also impressed with the general framework of this offer, as Herb Jones is one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA right now and would contribute immediately in Memphis. DeJounte Murray is a quick fix at the point guard spot to replace Morant, and a first round pick on top of it all is always nice. Similar to the Rockets offer earlier though, the Pelicans probably need to include just a little bit more, possibly by way of a pick or something else, to get this offer across the finish line, but it is close. DeJounte Murray may be a former All-Star, but it's become pretty apparent that he no longer provides all-star impact, and that his numbers can be a bit hollow at times. If this was DeJounte Murray from 2022, then it would probably be a done deal, but that is not the case here in 2025. A lineup of Ja Morant, CJ McCollum, Trey Murphy, Zion Williamson, and Yves Missi is dangerous and balanced, so it would be in their best interest to make the necessary adjustments to turn this one into a reality. The next proposal from the article is between the Grizzlies and the Orlando Magic, where the Magic receive Ja Morant in exchange for Anthony Black, Jonathan Isaac, Cole Anthony, Jet Howard, and 3 first-round picks. The Orlando Magic's offense is a disaster, and after 2 years of playoff basketball, this needs to be the offseason where the Magic take their weaknesses seriously and do something about it. They have been the worst-ranked offensive team to make the playoffs in back-to-back years now, and while Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner are very talented scorers, they simply can't do everything, nor should they be expected to do everything. The Magic are in desperate need of playmaking from the point guard position to help things flow a lot better, so obviously Ja Morant would be an amazing solution to their problems, and the fit is clear as day. Despite this offer from the Magic not including a borderline star caliber player, it is actually maybe my favorite proposal from the article, with a very strong balance of player and draft capital. In the place of a star to headline the offer, they're giving the Grizzlies 2 young point guards in Cole Anthony and Anthony Black that supplement the hole left behind by Morant. They're adding in an all-defense caliber forward in Jonathan Isaac. Jet Howard admittedly hasn't done much to write home about early in his young career, but is worth taking a chance on as a recent lottery pick, and 3 first-round picks is more than any of the other offers included. Stacking draft capital would allow the Grizzlies to potentially reload through the draft in the event of a potential reset, or they could repackage some of those picks in a big trader offer of their own down the line, and the players they're getting in return could all contribute from day one too. The Magic obviously push to make this happen so they can end their hunt for a long-term solution at point guard, and Ja Morant would immediately improve their horrid offensive struggles while providing proven playoff experience, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if something like this actually happened. And finally, the last proposal from the article is between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Sacramento Kings, where the Kings receive Ja Morant in exchange for DeMar DeRozan, Devin Carter, Jonas Valanciunas, and a first-round pick. After seeing De'Aaron Fox request a trade and ultimately get shipped out at the trade deadline this season, the Kings are now yet another team lacking in the point guard department. That, in theory, is the rationale behind a proposal like this. The Kings owe it to themselves to give this group one last chance to try to build something worthwhile, and I'm not necessarily a believer of the idea that they need to tear things down completely immediately like many others are. They only had Zach LaVine for less than half of the season after bringing him in from the De'Aaron Fox trade, and pairing him with an all-star point guard would give them one of the most explosive scoring backcourts in the NBA. And with big man Domantas Sabonis passing the ball better than any other big man not named Nikola Jokic, that is a strong trio. The Kings never replaced Fox properly at the point guard position last year, so if Morant comes in and provides a similar explosive playmaking burst of speed and a knack for scoring the ball, they may be able to replicate some 2023 season success where they had the NBA's #1 ranked offense that year. Trading away DeMar DeRozan gives the Grizzlies an answer at the small forward spot that they've been looking for, and Jonas Valanciunas would be a good mentor for Zach Edey in the middle, but where this deal falls apart for me is that it's just not enough to land a player of Ja Morant's caliber. I repeat myself a lot in these videos, but star players rarely get traded for pennies on the dollar. One single first-round pick is not enough to sweeten the deal to the point where Memphis would say yes. If Morant is available, then the Grizzlies will have a lot of teams sending offers for him, and if this is the best that Sacramento has to put on the table, then unfortunately, they're not going to end the day as the highest bidders, even if I do like Morant's fit there in theory. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about these proposed trades. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.